Welcome to the podcast. This is the Brothers by Law. I'm your host, Jeffrey Stiff.
And I'm Thomas Bowman.
And today we talk about who's the bigger dickhead, salty poor people
or entitled rich people.
Yeah, let's find out.
Good.
All right, you want to jump right on into this?
All right.
So I'm going to go ahead and start with my thing, right? And
give a little... start like how this all sort of came about?
Yeah. I was going to start with like my thing, the backstory, because what you're probably going to say is new to me. And that's kind of why I didn't debate with you on Facebook at all. I was like, you know what? Hold on. This is a great podcast. Like you were wanting to do a podcast on it, so I was like, don't say nothing.
I was like, yeah. You guys just get started. Explain
all right
how this started, and then we'll sort of go from there.
Once upon a time. No. So
what, like 4 days ago?
Yes. Well, kind of. So lately, freaking celebrities are all in isolation, right? So a lot of people are posting their videos online of them in their house doing things, right? It's a big old thing going on, right? Freaking, I've been just watching videos just because I'm bored, right? I have a son. I'm stuck at home. I can't really go out. And I noticed through all the comments, people are like getting mad, right? Because they're like, well, they could have used that money for that house to do this and this and this. Oh, it must be nice to have a great mansion during isolation and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, these poor people are salty, right? And then my dumb ass decides, it'd be a great idea. Let's put this up on Facebook. So, verbatim, I put up on Facebook, does anyone else think poor people are the saltiest dickheads you'll ever meet? Not all, obviously. And it kind of blew up from there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I do think that. I mean, poor people are pretty salty. So you eventually commented back, and your argument was: do you have the quote on it, or do you want me to pull it up? Or do you just want to summarize
the basics of it? Is that my experience as being in customer service jobs is that the rich people are more like entitled pricks, and that's worse than like a poor person seeming envious about something.
Yeah.
So it's like I first saw that comment. It was like early in the morning. I just woke up. I saw that comment. I'm like, what the hell, Jeff? What the hell did you post? And then I think it was like that night or the next day, reading through your comments later on and all the other responses and whatnot. Then actually talking to you, sort of getting the backstory on the statement. Like, okay, I get what you're saying, and I can understand it, but you worded that comment or that Facebook post very horribly, and it made you come off like an entitled prick.
Yeah, I know. But it's just, I don't know. It's just the verb, in your own head, when you're thinking things, you don't even care about how it comes across. You're just busy like thinking stuff. And for some reason, I decided to just kind of put it out there exactly how I thought it.
Yeah.
No filter, no like being sensitive or anything. It's just, let's see what happens here.
Like first glance, with like no backstory or like understanding, it just came off very like bigotist. I think that's the word, bigotist. Whatever that word is, it came off very bad, very poorly. Like,
yeah, the first few comments weren't exactly positive.
Then once you start like talking about it in the comments, it eased off a little bit, but
Thomas still wants to argue with it. He's like, I don't exactly agree.
Well, it's like, I don't know your experience with like customer service jobs. Like, actually,
I think ours are very opposite. Well, maybe not completely opposite, but I mean, just because you mentioned working with rich people, and I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really worked with any rich people. I don't know any really.
I was like, see, I've when it comes to customer service style jobs, I've been, fast food, I've been restaurants, I've done gas stations, and currently I'm doing lawn care.
Right.
And
I'm gonna pull up the Twitch chat because what I got currently is too small for me to read.
I see all sorts of people, all different, wealth ranges. And in my experience, I'd have to say it's definitely very opposite of your statement.
Well, you said entitlement, which wasn't salty, really.
No.
Like, mine is just that poor people are pretty salty. Especially over rich people. Like, they're salty towards rich people. Which, I did counter it at one point, kind of. And I was kind of waiting for someone else to counter it first. But I was like, you know what? I'll just kind of throw out, like, an alternative. Oh, Wendy asked what I considered poor. Which we actually had this conversation. Kind of. Because she asked me that, and I was, honestly, at the time, I wasn't really defining poor, and I really didn't think of what made someone poor. But I did kind of ponder on the question, or on it, and, I suggested that, it could be more of a state of mind kind of thing. Whereas somebody who doesn't make a whole lot but is very happy with their life probably feels like they make plenty or more than enough, But I mean, I don't have exact figure or anything. It's just I'm generalizing, which is probably not very good.
That's why you should have said some people, not
No. I'm generalizing on purpose. I'm not gonna call anybody out by name. I mean, I was just reading through comments, and there was several of them, just people just being salty towards people who have a little bit more financially, and, is where I could go out and just start, like, listing names, like, this guy, this guy, this guy, they're all being salty, blah, blah. I was just like, you know what? They obviously don't have as much as wealthy people, and I'm just gonna, summarize. Poor people, less fortunate in the wealth department. They are salty.
That's the...
My rank in the military, I am staff sergeant. Which I know it doesn't make me poor. But yeah, go on, Thomas. I'll let you speak for a little bit. No, it's not all me just talking.
Molly, get out from under there.
I mean, I don't want to make this a Jeff defend himself thing. I want it to be a conversation thing.
That was a Jeff defend himself episode.
Yes, E5. Which took me about 4 tries to actually make it, so I was pretty stoked when I finally made staff sergeant. I was like, yes! Oh, I was like on the verge of getting kicked out because I wasn't making enough rank, so I was pretty happy to finally make it. But so oh, Thomas is distracted in case anybody's wondering.
Yes. Okay. So I'll just bring up my comment real quick.
Okay, he's gonna bring up his comment and he's gonna go and
I can just sort of read it and then go from there.
I mean, I have like other things that I feel people who are unfortunate in the wealth department are probably salty towards, but I'll leave that for a little bit later. Just way I have more points to throw out.
So basically, you did your whole thing, and I had a complete opposite in mine.
Someone's a bad boy.
So I guess we want to try to compare, because I sort of went the route for entitlement.
Yes, you did go for the route for entitlement.
Which can be, I guess, seen. It's like Wendy said, you can see salty. They're thinking that they're better than everybody. Which,
I didn't really think salty as that, but I personally didn't define salty as that, but I mean, I guess.
What were you defining the salty as, Molly?
Someone who's just
a
little upset at the state of something, I guess.
Okay.
Like if you get in trouble over something dumb, you might be a little salty over it because somebody else who did something even dumber didn't get in trouble. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's
So-
not the exact definition of salty, but that's my definition. So
So then, like, for your comment, it'd be like, these people are salty because these people have better houses where they could have, but they didn't. Essentially, get to that point.
Kind of. I was saying people were salty that kind of like that wealthier people had nicer homes or spent their money towards homes rather than other things that I guess people who are less fortunate would have spent their money towards. Which
Okay.
I'll kind of get into that later, but 'cause
All right.
I did a little research on like some demographic stuff, and yeah.
Good old demographics. All right, so I guess to defend my point of view on this, for the fact that I think rich people, or I guess the people with more money, the people that are better off, are a lot more salty in the fact that they just seem they are entitled. They are better off than everybody because they have more, which to me that's way worse than just having someone who's like, oh, I wish I could have that. I mean, yeah, they're going on your Facebook and stuff and writing the bad comments. You see that in both sides. You see that with the rich people or the better off people. I get stop saying rich and poor. I don't like that whole rich people versus poor person deal. But so the better off people are just as bad as going on to Facebook and writing stuff like, well, quit being poor, quit making bad decisions, quit doing this, quit doing that, find a better job, this and that, which, I mean, yeah, a lot of the time, yeah. I mean, you find a better job, make better choices, but I think there's a lot of psychology and sociology in the fact of people that are less off.
Right.
That it's not just like they made these choices and they got here. A lot of them are just sort of ends up being raised that way, getting taught these bad decisions, and they're just thinking, oh, well, that's how it's supposed to be. They don't get taught how to better themselves or this and that. They get stuck in this cycle.
Yeah. Well,
So
that
you were
was a
saying, like,
big
poor
point
get
that was brought
poorer.
up.
And the rich get richer. I mean, it is true because I don't know. I've read a lot of psychology and sociology books that sort of go over this fact. And
Yeah.
it's just a learned habit that they get stuck. And now, yeah, there are people who can recover from being poor and get out of it, but I think I just completely strayed off of what I was originally trying to say. I just wanted to jump, like I wanted to jump right into.
No, you're good. Like this
psychology
topic is
part
a
of it.
little everywhere.
It's I just don't know where to go with it.
Don't know where to go.
Okay, so defending my statement, yes, I have witnessed rich people being entitled pricks way too much. Like, I deal with it on a weekly basis, almost. I've dealt with it in gas stations and fast food and all that stuff. But like the biggest one I'm seeing, because there's a definite idea, I guess. So like I do lawn care, I do lawns, I treat lawns, do chemical for it, and then so there's obviously you can tell by the house,
Yeah.
and how many applications these people get. Their sort of wealth,
To an extent, yes.
I got some people who they have like a sort of smaller, crappier house, and they only do like maybe 3 apps. To where I have a customer with this mansion who does everything, has every service we provide being done at their property. And there's a very definite difference there.
And
now,
like
if something
their
goes
attitude
wrong,
or
both.
oh, both. Okay.
Within like the wealth, like there's a difference with the wealth. You can tell just by looking at the house. And then you can also tell by their attitude, because 9 times out of 10, if something goes wrong with one of the applications or something like that, the house that, the less wealthier house, they're not mad about it. They're like, I understand. But if I go to the mansion and there's something wrong, oh, that person is throwing a fit. They are pissed. They are upset. They're like, why is my yard looking like this? I pay you. And they basically give off that. And I've had a customer tell me, I make more than you. Why is this wrong? Like,
can I have
in
a
that
slight counter to that? I mean, not really a counter, but I guess like a thought on it.
all right.
So the way I see it, right? Because a lot of there's some wealth around me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I see it a lot in people paying other people to come out and do their yards and stuff. And I always think, why not do that themselves? And I mean, one of the big things that I did read up on is that they were talking about some rich guy, right? I don't remember this specifically, but they said if they stopped to do something mundane, they would be technically losing money because their time is super valuable in other areas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the point I'm trying to bring is like, I mean, I don't condone anybody to get pissed off over something dumb like that, but the only reason why I would hire somebody to do my yard, I mean, unless like everybody really needed help, but I mean, like the other reason would be like, if my time was more valuable elsewhere, and if my time needs to be pulled away to direct saying, hey, this doesn't look right, then I'm technically would be losing money. You know what I mean? Which is like like two negatives. I don't know if that makes
Still no
sense.
excuse to be a dick.
Oh
though.
yeah, no, I'm not saying it's an excuse to be a
just like
dick.
it's no excuse
but
for a poor person being salty over
I guess
something.
my
But-
point is where, you know, an average Joe, their time working on the yard doesn't, like, if their time getting pulled from work to work on the yard, like that's not really going to cost as much as somebody who's probably got, you know, a lot of money. Like that probably like hinders a lot if they actually have to get their time pulled for something else.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I it was just something I remember reading up on about like wealthy people, like how much their time is valuable in other areas. So
Yeah.
I could see possibly why someone would be pissy, but and then again, I mean, I don't exactly condone anybody to get pissy at dumb stuff.
Yeah, but then it's, you know, you're sitting there and you try to explain to them,
Yeah,
like, hey, you know, we do everything we can, but we can't control what Mother Nature does.
right.
We do our best to fight her. You know, and I've done this for over 5 years. I know my stuff. I know what I'm doing. You know, I know what to tell the customers. I know how to talk to them.
It might be just
And then when
experience in
they're
different
sitting
areas
there-
too.
Yeah, and I know a lot of different, you know, I'm not just, you know, like a master, not even like a master, but you know, I'm not like
Yeah.
mastering my cert one craft.
Thomas
I
is
do
a
multiple
master.
ones.
Don't let him lie to
Like,
you.
Jack of multiple trades here, but when they come, I try to explain to them, like, okay, you probably sorry, you know, but you know, it could have been this, could have been that, and they're like, I don't care what it is, it shouldn't be like that because I paid you. I may, you know,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, yeah, I go to someone who's less wealthy, and there's like, okay, like I don't know. That's just my personal experience. These people with more money are just way worse, way
Yeah,
saltier when
no,
things
I
go
got
wrong.
you.
When something goes wrong,
And I guess that's
it
like
is
the big
9 times out of 10 in my personal experience. The rich person, the person with more wealth, is going to be a douche.
that's the big difference between you and I is like you've worked with them. I don't ever touch them, really.
Yeah.
So I have no experience. My experience is like, you know, being military, we protect and serve, and then there would be times that you know we come out and help homeless people and veterans and stuff. So really, my work is more served towards the lower class than anything because they're the ones that need us the most. So I
Yeah.
would be more exposed to those kind of settings, whereas you taking care of lawn, I mean, that's more of a high class luxury. I
Mhm.
mean, not everybody can afford someone to come out and do their lawn for them. So, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just kind of like a big just difference in our view on life.
Well, I mean, I've had it within, like I had an experience where I worked at a gas station. It was in a small town, you know, and we had like a certain time limit where we wouldn't break 50s or 100s because we just didn't have the money in the cash register. It was on the windows. It's everywhere posted like, hey, at this time, you know, we can't break big bills because we just won't have the money. We just went to the bank or this or that.
Okay, is this
You
an
know.
old guy that's gonna have an issue with this?
Then you got these people coming in. Like I've had a person come in, like wallet, like wide open, full of hundreds. Like, well, all I have is hundreds. Like, well, sorry, we can't break that. Like, being all mad because I could, like, the signs posted right there. Like,
yeah,
it's like during like this short period of time, we don't have the money, we can't break it.
I remember seeing old people like that. Because I don't know, for some reason, old people like to have a lot of cash on them. I guess that's
Yeah.
like the back in the day. That's how they did everything. And I remember working at KFC, and they'd come in with these big old dollar bills. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So I will say, here are a few counters that I came up with to my own thing, right? To
Okay.
poor people being saltier, and I was kind of hoping somebody else would have came up with some other like possibilities of who's saltier than poor people, other than you came up with the entitled rich people at one point, but that was like later. But I came up with I was particularly thinking Disney creators, because like when you mentioned later when you mentioned the rich people, I thought that was really funny because I was sitting there before I mentioned like I don't remember how I worded it. Like, yeah, just creators in general. Like, because the Disney creators, in particular, with like Marvel and Star Wars, dude, you critique their films, man, they'd be getting salty. They'd be getting real salty about it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I'm surprised nobody brought that up. I had to bring it up myself just because I was like, well, I mean, these people are pretty salty too. I don't know if they're more salty than poor people, but. But it's funny that you mentioned the rich people because I was like, well, they are the rich people too. At least I think they are. I don't know. I don't know how much they actually get made or how much they make. Maybe they don't actually make that much as we think. And that's probably why they're salty. Don't tell an artist that their art sucks.
Yeah, no, you don't do that.
Okay. So if you think rich people are the most entitled.
Or a title, and I guess if we're going to use the word salty, we could say salty when things don't go
I'm going to
their
stick with the
way.
word entitled for now.
Or, you want to stick with the word entitled?
Yeah, because
and then rich people with more money tend to be, we're going to go with like how you posted your post. Most rich people or wealthier people are going to be entitled pricks.
Yeah.
And I think that is worse than, I guess how you say salty poor people.
Yeah, salty poor or poor
Because,
people or salty dickheads. One of them include dickheads.
I mean, you got the salty, you got the quote unquote salty poor people or whatever looking up like, well, I wish I had that. Like, wish I had your wealth. Oh, this guy's, and then make their crappy comments too. But then you got all these more better off people with their crappy comments, just like looking down on everybody else. Like,
well, you got,
haha, I'm better than you. Haha.
You got poor people trying to get free stuff too. Like free healthcare and free education.
Handouts that
and
richer people
like
get
they're
too,
upset that they don't get
corporate bailouts and all that other stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely think they should just fail. That'd be legit.
They get handout every other day. Like, do we really want to get into like the free stuff?
What, Wendy? I look at anybody who is a little pissy about their current situation as salty. Just so you know. So like, it's not necessarily like, I don't know, like whether you have a home or not, you can be salty. I'm just saying, poor people are probably a little bit more salty than others. I don't know. Do you see the chat at all or no?
The Twitch.
Yeah.
Is Wendy asking about the poor homeless people?
Yeah. I just wasn't sure if I was like throwing something like way out there. You were just lost or something. Yeah, every once in a while I'll look down and read it. So, but no, like I'm not blaming anybody for anything. I'm just saying, giving a generalized observational statement from my own personal experience. And I put the question out there, does anybody else think that? So it's not me saying, oh, you're poor because you're salty. No, I'm saying poor people are just generally salty.
It's just a very bigoted statement to make. That's the issue, though. It's just a very bigoted.
But a lot of people are fine with entitled rich people. But why is that fine, but not salty poor people?
I mean, saying entitled rich people, that's bigoted too. Like,
But
me
more
saying
people
that,
are
like, it's
fine with
bigoted
that.
too. I don't know.
Everybody's fine with getting on board with rich people being entitled, but nobody's fine with salty poor people.
I'm not fine with either. I think it's all just a bad way to state things. That's why I'm trying to say people better off. 'Cause saying like, oh, that's a rich person. I mean, I don't know.
What is better off to you?
Honestly, when it comes down to it, if you're just a decent person minding your own business. So when we're coming off to when people are better off, they are, have more wealth, or they're in this concept of like what we're talking about. Better off definitely is more towards people with more money, whereas lesser off are people with less. But I think in general, how we should really look at it is people better off are people just happy with what they have and are okay with that.
Yeah, we should.
But that's not how we look at things.
That's not,
unfortunately.
No. We like to categorize everything. You put the red crayons with the red crayons, blue crayons with the blue crayons. It's just, it's how our brains work, how we make sense of the world.
Yeah.
We categorize everything. Males are males, females are females. The moment you start trying to mix things back and forth and trying to make it all gray area, because everything's got to be equal. It's all got to be gray area. It just gets confusing and we become lost.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal of this wasn't necessarily to say poor people are bad people or anything. It was just me thinking of the salty list. There's something always has to be at the top. There's a winner and a loser to everything. Rich people are maybe super wealthy, but they're also entitled dickheads, and maybe poor people, they could be like flourishful and happy, or not, maybe like just content with where they're at in life, but maybe they're a little salty towards those who have a little bit more money,
Yeah.
So there's got to be somebody at the list. So in my salty list, that's where I was kind of like, I in my head, I was just making that list. No, there's got to be entitlement and salty. These are the realities of life.
That's what we named the podcast episode. So there has to be.
No. Because that's the reality. That's a feeling. It's a reaction.
So I don't know. Did you want to I don't know if you want to go on your sort of side a bit more before I just go on a big, crazy random tangent about like the psychology and sociology of the whole situation?
I just want to put out there real quick that millennials or baby boomers are more entitled than rich people.
Okay, boomer.
So actually, when I looked up the word entitlement, millennials came first, and then later baby boomers, and I laughed and I was like, hell yeah, take that, Thomas. Baby boomers and millennials are worse than rich people. And you can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah, we are in a weird, I don't know, country is a little weird off right now, because it does seem people are just a lot more saltier and a lot more entitled. And I don't really know if it's either like, I don't know. Again, I'm not even looking at a wealth perspective, just in general. We're in a very like, give me.
Yes.
Or, no, I'm better than you, no, or better than you, I'm better than you, I'm better than you. And that's not saying, it's the rich people or the poor people or whatever. It's just the world has been so weird lately, and we're stuck in this sort of no one's right and everyone's wrong type of arguments daily.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that was kind of something I was like trying to put out there, was society has been trying to paint everything in a certain light to get everybody on this weird same page. And one of the things I was pondering on was, if poor people are saltier, right? Like this is my thoughts from after making that claim. I'm like, well, if they are this, then why? And as I was thinking about it, I was like, I wonder if it's because how we paint the picture of those who are more fortunate, right? Like for years,
Yeah.
we've had people telling us the rich aren't paying their fair share. They're holding that money. It's because of them why we can't have free medical or free healthcare and free education. This is nothing new. It's been going on for years, and I wonder if because they keep preaching this kind of thing, if now those who are a little less fortunate are naturally reacting to this salty behavior towards those who are more fortunate.
I can see that. There's definitely like with how the media, social media, and all this stuff has become big. The internet's big now. You can know everything at any given time. There's just a lot more information, and there's just a lot more. But then, of course, the media sort of paints this picture of like what a family should be, or what a household should be, or what a life should be like. Which it's never going to be that way for everybody.
Yeah, no,
But that's what people are just basically brainwashed to think like, okay, I need to have a white picket fence house. I need to have this paid off car. I need to have this perfect life. And that's what's basically pushed into our brains with all the movies and the TVs we watch. And this, how everything's just crammed in there. It's like how women, they're always just like, oh, I have to be so, I'm like, I'm not as pretty as this woman. So, like women are just like have it the worst. They're just like, have these high expectations. They're forced to, feel like they need to breach that it's unnecessary because it's not.
And then they overcompensate with that too, because I mean the good thing about all of that, about having these high standards thrown at you, is that it should subliminally tell you to better yourself, but. I mean, obviously they took it too far, and now they've gotten to the point where they're taking it too far back the other way again, to where no, you're beautiful the way you are, and I'm like, yes and no. You should still work out. You should still eat healthy. You should take care of your body. You are beautiful the way you are, but I think you have a moral obligation to still, do good for your body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and like
it's weird because like I can see both sides to that. I get why too much of it's like an issue.
The issue I have with it now, I'm going to come off seeming now when it comes to politicalness, I stay away from politics. I'm not left. I'm not right. I form my own opinion.
Oh, he's a fence sitter.
I go off of what I believe. So, but this is going to get a little, it's going to make me seem off like a crazy left side person.
Okay.
But, if you're looking at the numbers compared to like college and housing and minimum wage and all that, and you're comparing it through the years and you're comparing like how the, money fluctuates as well.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, we are completely screwed.
How so?
Like, even just like my boss, he was talking when he was in back in his day when he was like in high school or going for college years, he would work in the summertime and pay off his college for the year, and he'd still have money to buy his car and do all this stuff. I could work all summer long if I didn't have to pay any bills, and I stopped paying my bills, but like I could not afford housing and paying off a whole semester of college in a summer. You can't do that nowadays because everything has gone up while wages have stayed low, like insurance and all that, not insurance.
I mean, that's inflation in general.
Yeah. But everything just goes up and up to where it's not manageable for living off of these wages that people get stuck on. And so you get housing, rent is starting to get ridiculous.
I know they've been talking about raising the minimum wage, but that is a really bad idea.
It is.
Because, like, if you raise the minimum wage, that raises the cost of everything else. Like, your product has to make a profit of some amount. Maybe our society just has too many things that it requires you to buy. You know,
there's a
you
lot
gotta
of other
have
things
the
in there,
internet
but
now. You gotta have like a computer. You gotta have, a cell phone. You gotta have all these different things that you didn't used to have like 20 years ago. Like you didn't need all that back then. Now you do.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're just require too many things that we just can't afford anymore.
no, a lot of it is just stuff's gone up that shouldn't. Like, if you're watching the graph compared to like the minimum
What stuff are you
wage.
talking about? You just talking about like education
Well, I'm just
kind of
right now.
stuff?
I'm going to talk about like the college
Okay.
price, the housing, and the minimum wage. If like you're looking at the graph, and like with the inflation throughout the years, college and housing skyrocket, where minimum wage just sort of tinkers down low. So it would start out to where it was very reasonable, but then shoot up to where it's just ridiculously overpriced compared to what it should be. If everything was going to stay even, the rent or the wage would go up with
Well,
all those price
and
wise.
there's a
It
lot of
doesn't, it
factors to
hasn't.
that too that I'm sure is really hard to comprehend.
People want more money.
Well,
But now I'm going to jump in from here to get to more of the point of like the psychology.
okay.
It sort of leads to the point like poor, lesser off people staying lesser off because they get stuck into this cycle. Like, you got lucky, your parents, I've heard the story. Your parents grew up poor, but then they switched that and
Yeah.
they got themselves better off.
Mhm.
And they raised you guys with better standards and a better way of living of how to like, not get to that point, not to get lower, worse off than you are type deal. A lot of people though, they get into that cycle and they can't get out of it. They can't break
Right.
out. Breaking out from poor. When you're poor, it is hard to break out of being poor.
Like,
And a lot of people can't break out of it. And then they raise their kids the best they can, but they just can't provide them with what they need to be better off. And they learn bad habits from choices their parents maybe just made bad choices in general, or maybe they just had no other choice but to make these bad choices.
like,
And then it gets stuck into a cycle. Okay, well, now their kids got raised with these bad habits. It's stuck in their head. Now they're stuck doing these bad habits. And it just creates this cycle. And it gets like, generations are just going to start getting stuck into this cycle.
yeah, and like something that I remember reading up on once. It was about winning the lottery, right? And the lottery obviously is mostly poor people trying to become rich, right? And most of the people, there's very few, but most of the people who win the lottery become broke poor within a few months. Like right back to where they started.
That with
and
like football players and big sports players.
Well, yeah.
Once they get out of the game, like once they're done, their contract's over, they're not playing the sports anymore. 90% of them are broke within a couple years.
Like my point is that you can't give people things to get them out of the situation that they're in, because even if you give them things, they're gonna end up right back where they are. It's when it comes to like finance stuff. And I'm agreeing with you that it is how they are raised. They just don't get on how to manage all that, and they end up just reverting right back to where they are, and that's just how life is. Like, and that's kind of why I'm probably gonna sound like another dickhead here, but I don't give homeless people like money or anything.
Oh, I don't either.
Yeah, it's just something like I've done like maybe twice. And I think I've given people gas, like literally went to their car and pumped gas into their car, but like I don't give homeless people with a sign anything. In my head, I'm just like, go get a job, because me giving them a handout is not going to fix them tomorrow.
My issue with that is just for the fact that I've witnessed people just doing it as a scam and not actually needing the money.
Yeah. That is a big concern.
One person I saw, like, I drove the corner. She was in a wheelchair with a sign saying disabled, need money. And then, like, I came back an hour later, and she was put in the wheelchair, standing up perfectly fine in the back of the trunk of a nice car. I was like, oh, okay.
You're just like, oh, I see how it is.
So she was just doing it as a scam. So I just don't do it because I don't trust people in general. I don't.
So when you mentioned the whole entitled rich people, right? I decided to go out and do some research on it because I was trying to find some points to either go or against or just something for this podcast. Oops, sorry, just hit the microphone. And what I found is there's not a whole lot of research about it. There is a little bit. A lot of them keep quoting the same thing over and over. There was a research done about Monopoly, which they basically had it to where they gave someone an advantage, someone neutral, and someone a disadvantage, and they played the game. And then when they asked them afterwards, why do you attribute your winnings, or how do you attribute your winnings? They looked at the ones who were given the advantage. They said, "Oh, it's because of my skill," and those who lost are like, "Oh, it's because I was put at a disadvantage." And that argument, I just didn't see it being very good for why rich are entitled. So I kind of threw that one out. Although one of the cool studies I did find was talking about donations, right? And I thought this was kind of interesting. Poor people donate about twice as much percentage-wise of their income than rich people do. And I think rich people was like 1.6% versus a poor person who was like 3 point something of their annual income, which I thought that was kind of interesting. But then, I sit there and think about it, and, a poor person who donates, $5, right? That's probably a good chunk of money of their stuff, right? Versus a rich person who gives $200,000, which is a very generous donation, but that might be like a small fraction. But I don't get why that would be more of an issue, because the percentage is less, or
I don't know. It's just they have more to give,
But if you had more to give, wouldn't you take a little bit of that and just kind of enjoy your life a little bit?
Well, that's the thing. A lot of these rich people, they have way more than enough. Like, they do enjoy their lives, and they have tons of money just sitting around with nothing to do, But when it comes down to, like, okay, sure, like you see, like with the wildfires in Australia, you had all the people like, oh, this guy donated $1 million, or this guy donated this. Like, okay, cool, but he has that just sitting around. Like, he could lift up open a drawer and there's like $1,000, you know?
It's sad.
Whereas when you got someone who has giving like their last $5 to help out, it's a lot more meaningful, I think.
I mean,
it's like, this guy has the money just to throw away. They have 7 yachts. Why do you need 7 yachts for,
See,
like,
I guess to me, like, I always think about my family, right? So like, where you'd say like it's more meaningful when the poor person gives a little bit extra. To me, I'm just like, that's dumb, man. Like, don't you want to like make sure there's enough money for your family later on? But like, that's my train of thought is
take care of They're like,
take care of your family first. I know a lot of them like to give so much, but like, take care of your family first, and then
Well, I mean, that's a lot of it they probably did, but then it's like, okay, well, there's something big going on, and I want to help out. I want to do my part as a human to help out. So I got $5 here. I'm going to donate it.
Oh yeah, every time I donate, this is a comment that Wendy sent. I don't ever get a receipt. Like, I don't believe in getting tax return because you donate. That's dumb. I think they should.
Oh yeah, all the rich people who are donating, I'm sure they are definitely getting that all back.
Yeah, like every time I donate, they're like, "Do you want a receipt?" I'm like, "Nah." Like, I'm donating. I'm doing this because someone else can use it. I don't want money for it. I think that they should definitely get rid of that. That's dumb.
But all those people, like all the people donating, the richer people donating for Australia fires and the Corona stuff right now, they're getting it all back, or at least a huge chunk of it back. They can throw it away. They have the money to spare, and they're going to get it all right back.
I got a question for you. And I did a little bit of research, so I have my opinion on it. But does wealth make you entitled, or does entitlement make you wealthy?
I think it's just like being raised poor. If you're raised rich, you have this, you are just taught that you're better off. Because if you got someone, there's like these generations of richer families, they're just in that, it's like in that mindset, like, I'm better off. That's how they grew up. and that's just how they are. That's how they see the world.
Okay.
Now there are some that, like I said, there are some who are more caring and more, not entitled.
You're right.
But
I noticed.
But I think a lot of that, the entitlement is just sort of a learned trait. It's just like basically anything else in life. It's a learned trait, just depending on where you grew up, how you grew up, and who raised you.
Yeah, and like I noticed when I was looking up a lot of
about like rich, and we'll look at like in the movies, where the family's super wealthy, been wealthy for generations. The kids are basically raised by maids and whatever. Like, let's go movie style rich people. And yeah, they grow up with this entitlement because, oh, well, it's my maid. You do it for me.
Yeah.
So they get that entitlement.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was doing some research on the entitlement thing, and a lot of them were saying wealth makes you entitled, right? And I was just like, I just don't know about that. I don't think you just magically become more entitled because you become wealthy. And when I was doing my research, right, it showed that 60% of rich people get their wealth through inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was like, that is a lot. That's over half. Like, geez. So I agree with you in the sense that, like, yeah, like I think if it's not wealth that makes you, or yeah, it's not necessarily like the money that makes you entitled, but rather just being given it rather than like achieving it.
It's something that, you didn't earn it. You were just, it's there. You were raised to just be entitled, and that's just how it is. And it's just like, and I mean, I can understand like the view nowadays with like these, less off people who are just struggling. They're stuck in this cycle. They're struggling. Things aren't improving for the normal class, normal average Joe. Things aren't improving financially because the people with money are controlling it. Like it's proven out there. It's proven. Now, I mean, I don't think it's as bad as people are saying. I don't think we need to like kill the rich. No.
Well, there is a lot of people that do want that.
Our taxes could be used differently to help the people compared to just making the rich richer. That's all it's doing right at this point. Our taxes are being used the wrong way. They could be used to be basically giving the average person a better chance at life because it's really not there.
What do you mean exactly by taxes are helping the rich?
Well, I mean, it's just like all these corporate bailouts that are being used for our tax money. I don't know if you've actually looked research on that. If the company coronavirus stimulus check stuff.
If the company fails, doesn't that hurt a lot of average day workers?
Well, here's the thing. It was like with a lot of these other like the airports asking for bailouts right now because they're losing all this money.
Yeah. And
what they do, they got the bailout and they just fired everybody. The bailout was to help them pay their employees. They still just fired everybody.
Do you know if it was enough money to sustain them for months or just?
It was enough to get them by till hopefully things came over.
Because I'm assuming somebody ran the numbers and they probably concluded that even with this money, we still have to make cuts because there's no way we're going to be able to survive through this. I'm assuming. I don't know exactly.
If you like actually read through like the stimulus check thing, like the actual paperwork for that, there was actually enough money in that. If they didn't just give it out to all these different corporations and stuff that really, if they actually handed it to the people, because it's our money, they would have actually handed it to the people properly. And instead of using it for giving huge unnecessary chunks to places that didn't really need it.
Oh yeah, no, we
would have been way better off. Like,
they definitely kind of
everybody so much more money. Like we're getting $1,200, a one-time $1,200 check. Canada, like there's all these other countries. I know everyone's like, oh well, socialism, blah blah blah. I don't know. I don't really know all that stuff, but I was seeing the numbers from other countries, and I know they are smaller. They are smaller than the United States. We are a big country compared to all these other places. But I don't know.
I think the thought is
things could have been done way differently, and the way our taxes are being used, it's not to help us, the people. Like we put in taxes.
No, it's
from our
to
checks
help
and all
the
our
economy.
stuff we buy. and it's supposed to help us, but it really doesn't. They're using it for other things to.
Because like I know it, like I get giving the money to corporations, right? Because the idea is we're not going to be in isolation for like ever, right? And I know not being able to produce a product or something for several weeks could literally be the life or death of your company. And I know their biggest concern is what happens afterwards. And I think they're trying to keep companies in business so afterwards they can bring back people and we can bring back money into the economy. I mean, I know you really want money to go to the people, but
I definitely get
I
that.
see both ends because I know if I wasn't in the Air Force, I told somebody else, I was like, I'd be shitting my brains out right now. I'd be so nervous about losing my job, or how am I gonna make ends meet? Like I'd be really scared. So I'm very I think about that, and but at the same time, like I get why they're doing the things that they do, because this isn't supposed to be a long-term thing. So they got to try and take care of those things that were most likely going to fail.
More months, hopefully. Like, they're hoping end of April.
They originally talked about Easter, and then they changed it to was it April 30th for here in the U.S. for all our German and UK watchers.
Well, the thing is, like a cure or a vaccine, like any actual, like they can probably make out some stuff that's going to be okay, that could help, but for an actual vaccine or anything, you're looking at next year.
Yeah, well,
it takes months on months on months to actually properly.
They're betting on this being seasonal.
Vaccine and like, yeah, sure, we'll be okay. Like things may clear up. Like they're hoping that this whole thing's seasonal, and that it's like the cold and the flu. Once temperatures start rising, are we getting to that certain season?
Yeah,
it'll go away. But what's going to happen when fall hits? It comes right back.
That's anybody's guess at this point. And I think right now they're not talking about it because they don't want to spike fear or anything. Just want to work on the now. Yeah. Hey, here in the future, we'll get over this. Don't worry about fall yet. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I don't know. But just the way they did things, I don't know. It's tough. I understand the side of like giving the money to corporations, all that, but when they just instead use it for their own profit and not worry about their employees.
Yeah, I know a few like really.
That's a different story, and that's a horrible way to do it. And like that money could have gone to do even better stuff for us as people, And then like we want to talk about like being taxed. I mean, if you imagined $30 extra a year out of your taxes, just $30 a year, that's one dinner going out, a year. That could give everybody in the world, if everyone did it, that could give everybody in the world, or not the world, but the country.
I was like, the world, that's 7 billion people.
The country, that gives everybody in the country, I can't remember, it was like 30 something, it was like between 30 and 40. I read this, it was a few years ago, so it may not be as accurate, but it would end up give everybody the chance to go to college. That would be like their free college with the taxes. It'd just be everybody paying like an extra, let's say $40, and anyone can go get a college degree, which I would. I'd pay $80 a month or a year, out of my taxes.
I don't know.
I'd pay that extra because college is expensive.
It is, but do you need college?
No, but they brainwash you to think you do. That's the issue. They're making you feel like you need college and you really don't.
Like I think they almost like tell people that they should get all this or they need all that, and they really don't. Like what you got is pretty good. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. We get hounded with like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, and people just get stuck in this. Oh, well, I'm not doing this. Am I bad? Like they're getting mad because they can't do it. Because, like I said before, you get this cycle going. I don't know. It's definitely messed up. I don't know. Things can definitely be different in a lot of different aspects.
Yeah, especially like these days. But I mean, I think it's a big learning experience for everybody. So I mean, who knows what is better? I mean, they keep trying to compare us to other countries, but really their whole system works completely different than ours. You know,
Well,
like
that's like
they're like
we
what
were
is it,
talking about
China? Like
trying to
China's
be like
numbers aren't
Sweden.
bad, really, but they also nail people into like their rooms. I
Yeah.
don't know.
But yeah, we're talking like the old socialism ideal, I guess. I don't think that'll work with America, so to say. I think we need like sort of a new sort of in between with like what we have now and like this sort of socialist type idea, something that's a little more beneficial for everybody, not just the people who are just staying rich, making money off us.
You know, it's kind of sad to me. So I posted that Facebook comment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it got a lot of engagement, probably more than most of my other posts, right? And it wasn't exactly the most positive thing, which bothers me that all my pictures of my children or me having fun with like doing projects and stuff like nobody really cares about, but I post one slightly negative thing and everybody lose their mind. It's just like we were talking about like rich and poor people and how the rich probably should be putting more money out there, but there's a lot of people who are making like masks and are trying to help out the economy, and not enough people are talking about them.
Well, no, because everyone. That's why like this whole. I don't know. That's just how it is. Media just throws up the negative. Everything's always focusing on the negative and not showing the positive side of everything.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean,
that's like if you look up information. Like I looked like a few days ago. I was like, okay, let's Google like positive coronavirus news. Nothing. It's all negative stuff still. They're not showing like you look up like on Google. There's no positive coronavirus news on Google.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, nobody, like, even like just the average Joe doesn't care to look it up. It's more, I guess, engaging to find negative stuff and comment on it, or maybe comment negatively. And I don't know, maybe I know saying poor people are are like the most saltiest is probably not like the most accurate, right?
No.
And I was hoping to have a big range of different other options that I'd be like, oh, you know what? That's actually a good one too. But it was mainly just people defending poor people, which doesn't really change my mind or anything. But like, I don't know. I was hoping like someone would be like, yo, no, these people are super salty. These are the like most saltiest turd buckets out there.
No. I think it's just you ran into just like the bad comment section of something.
Yeah.
And saw like the bad side.
Well, no, and like, well, the thing is like it wasn't just one video; it was multiple videos, and that's the thing. Like, because this isolation is now a trend, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has to post videos from their homes, and now people are going to these things and create negative comments everywhere because maybe they think it's fun, or do they actually feel that way? I don't know.
It's probably a mix of both. You probably have people trolling just because people are saying it like out as more of a joke.
The thing is that you just don't
who are
know.
actually being a little salty about it. But then again, you don't know these people who are commenting, so you really don't know their status.
And you don't like. I mean, I know you say you work with rich people, but you really don't know them, do you?
I talked to some of them, and I mean, trust if you're having us do all like the tree trimming, the mowing, and the applications on a huge yard, like you have fun.
But like, I mean, do you like go with them on their day-to-day basis and know what they go through? Do you know why they are the way they are?
No,
because I mean, like, I could be at fault for saying poor people are salty, but I mean, you don't exactly know rich people either.
No. I mean, yeah, I get your point.
No. My main point was just it's just kind of funny on how people love the negative stuff and they like being negative towards the negative stuff, but nobody really wants to like be light. And I'm saying I'm a dickhead, okay? and I'm sorry. It was fun though. But
I think you're just bored.
I am
in your
bored.
little-
I was sick.
guess you were
I've been working with the
isolated.
sun. I haven't
you
got
had
a
a
whole
new
lot of
son.
sleep. I am.
You're just sitting around bored and trying to start stuff.
Well, I mean, no, like it was a genuine thought. Like, I mean, I wasn't being an asshole. At least I wasn't trying to be an asshole. It was just, half boredom and half like, I wonder if anybody else thinks this.
I mean, I've seen comments that make me like, oh, that guy's definitely poor,
Yeah,
But
they get
to
salty
go to,
towards
sit
me.
there and throw it on like, oh, this guy just on Facebook where everyone can see, like, poor people are salty dickheads. That's a whole nother thing to do. That's taking it to the extreme.
Yeah, no.
But
I
guess
mean, like
did lead
it
to
is
another
a
podcast
Facebook post
episode.
that is friends only viewable. So it's not like I'm posting it like on some random YouTube video and trying to start up shit. Like it was a question on my page, viewable by only friends, And like I posted, I was like, the great thing about friends is they can tell you you're a dickhead and it's all good tomorrow, It's like you're being dumb. I was like, yeah, I probably am.
Yeah.
Our chat's gotten really quiet. I'm just kind of waiting for something to pop up. But
Yeah, it's been a little quiet today.
I don't know. This was a good conversation, though. I definitely enjoyed it. I mean, I don't think we really came to a conclusion who's worse, a salty poor person or an entitled rich guy. Wendy's zipping her lips. She's like, nope.
Yeah.
No, I think it's, I don't know. Like I said, it makes sense to the human brain to categorize things. As much as we know it's wrong, I think we make
It's
sense
like
of the world
somebody
when we
just
can do that.
going out saying they're not racist. I mean, everybody has that little bit of that into them because
Oh yeah,
there's no
everybody's a
escaping
little
it.
racist, and it's
There is
fine.
no escaping. Like you're not like a actual racist, but you have those thoughts that could be considered racist. Like
It's like when all the black guys around you are like, oh yeah, black guys definitely have big dicks, right? And you got the white guy in the background, he's just staying silent because he's like, oh shit, it's true, isn't it? Just don't say anything. I mean, it is a racist thought, but it's funny. I don't know. But yeah,
it's just one of those conversations. I just don't think there's actual an answer.
No, it's not.
Because
The question that I posed out there was definitely a lose-lose situation for anybody. Because if you retaliated, you look like a salty dickhead.
I'm a salty dickhead.
Like, well, you proved my point. It was definitely a lose-lose situation. It was funny. But
I just think you just need to like word your stuff a little more.
Oh yeah, normally I do.
appropriately.
That one I just thought was too good to just word it anyway else.
I think that was like the biggest issue with it was just the wording.
Was it the dickhead part?
All of it.
All of it?
I mean, the dickhead didn't help at all,
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was the dickhead part. Well, I thought it was.
Actually, it's
but
one of those
it might have been
words
the
that
ending, like the that you'll ever meet part. Maybe that was a little much. No, I don't know. Well, salty isn't saying that you're worse than somebody. Someone says it was the poor people part. Hey, I'm allowed to critique poor people if I want. If people can critique rich people, I can critique poor people. Yeah, no, I mean, it wasn't, I don't know, the way I didn't think it was labeling poor people as less than other people. It was more of salty was more, a state of mind, right? Like, I got a treadmill. Maybe a poor person's salty that I got a treadmill.
More or less, not I guess salty, but you can see it more as
Like it wasn't me like saying salty, you're an asshole kind of thing. It was more like salty, you're just a little upset about life.
envious.
Envy, yes.
Envious
Thank
of
you.
what
That's
other
the word. Well, rich people are salty dickheads towards what they see as poor people. Maybe. I don't know. Like I was telling Thomas, like I don't really know any rich people. Like it's just, you know. I mean,
What it comes down to though, like
there's not a whole lot of rich people out there.
considering rich are poor, they could essentially, like anyone who's better off. So
Right,
they
but
could be richer than you.
I mean, I guess you can make that point, but so you're saying better off people, or no, people who are not better off are salty, or what are you saying?
Well, I'm just saying, like, how you're going to view rich or poor people. I guess it really depends on where you're at. So, and then, okay, well, this person has more than me, so they're rich. This person has less than me, they're poor. I mean,
well, that was the thing.
Like they're poorer than me, they're richer than me.
Right, and I think that's what Wendy was asking, was like, how do you define poor? And that wasn't exactly something that I really thought of prior to posting that. You know, and I don't.
You just saw these comments and assumed they were poor because they were envious of what the person with more money had.
Yes, well, I mean, they are. I guess if they're envious, they definitely have less than the guy that has the video. But like, well, a lot of them was like, you could have tore down that mansion and built like a multi-apartment for a bunch of people, or must be nice to have a mansion. I got this one or like some about a one studio bedroom apartment kind of thing, like they're comparing themselves to the rich people, and they're like half complaining that they don't have a mansion, or that someone spent their money on a mansion rather than other things.
Yeah.
Wait, I guess it was it was a lot. I mean, like you can make the argument that somebody who like says like, hey, you could have used that money for elsewhere, they probably aren't poor, but there was a lot of comments that were talking about them living in apartments and stuff. So I think with us all inside, I mean, if you're in a one bedroom apartment, you're probably very salty towards certain things right now.
Yeah.
Like I hate this freaking one bedroom apartment. I'm stuck here in isolation. I can't do anything.
But watch all the celebrities and actors who are now we can all see are pretty much non-essential.
Yeah, they're losing their minds right now, which tells you that money or no money, life will make you lose your mind. It doesn't matter how much you got. Everybody's gonna get hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of felt bad about the celebrities that did that song thing. You know what I'm talking about? The freaking If Only There Was a Heaven or Something song. Bunch of celebrities did it. They were trying to spark like make people feel better about everything, right? And they picked that song because some other dude did it, but he was playing like I think a saxophone, out on his porch to everybody out on the street, and someone was recording it. Right? It was very beautiful. So the celebrities like, we should do that. We should do that for everybody. So they recorded themselves, singing this song, and it was very badly sung, and they got ripped apart for that. I think, and it's funny because like I know a lot of people instinctively, we as people who are less off, we look to these people who have a lot of finances, and we expect them to do better for us. It's like the leader of a pack has to be strong to protect everybody in case there is an invasion. He needs to be, we give him special treatment. We make sure he's well fed, because if invaders come, he needs to be ready to go, right? And I think we think of like, these rich celebrities the same way as, you're supposed to, help us out in this time, and then you put out this crap video. you're not helping in any way. So I think people are just probably a little upset about that. They should have definitely done like a full-on staged thing.
I think it comes down to it, hitting some of my other points. People are just, at this point, it's like a eat the rich mentality.
Yeah.
Just because the fact that people are starting to understand more. They're like, okay, yeah, the money we're putting in isn't really helping us.
Right.
And they're starting to get just mad about it. But then it's just hatred going into the wrong people.
And I think that's
Instead of
probably
the
why I
right
felt
people.
okay with putting this out there. Or putting my Facebook post out there is because there's so much going towards the rich people. It's more like well, let's spread the love a little bit, you know? You know, like if
calling
everybody
people
is
salty dickheads,
okay
let's
with
spread the
calling rich people entitled and, you know, these assholes for spending money in areas that should be put elsewhere. Let's spread the love and aim it towards other people like the poor. Why not? But I guess it's more distasteful just because they don't have as much. It's easier to bring down somebody who has plenty than somebody who doesn't, regardless if it's true or not. Not saying what I said was true, just saying regardless, either or, whatever side you want to sit on. I don't know. Now this made for a good conversation, though. Just
it was a
different
interesting one.
Look on everything, and how I don't know. I like brainstorming different avenues and stuff. You know, like I don't like being stuck thinking the same thing everybody else thinks. I think it's fun to explore different thoughts. Particularly thoughts of my own that I know are different than others, and then just kind of like ask myself, why is that, or why do I think that? And you know, yeah, I think it's fun.
It's interesting. Thinking about, I don't know. Yeah, because I had to read that post and reading the comments, and I'm not one to just like have a
you don't really get on
one-sided
Facebook.
opinion.
So getting your comment, I was surprised. I was like, wow, Thomas is never even on. This is great.
I saw it in the morning. I was like, oh, what is he typing? And then so I waited, saw all the rest of the comments. Was like, okay, thinking about, you know, everything else. And I was like, okay, well, where's he going with this? What is he doing? What was going through his head when he wrote this? And yeah, it's like, well, you know what? Screw it. Rich people are entitled pricks. I'll go opposite of what you're saying.
Thank you.
Because in general,
I appreciate that.
Anyone
actually.
could be a salty dickhead.
Yes,
Anyone
anybody can be a salty dickhead.
prick.
It wasn't saying that only poor people are salty dickheads. And it's not that I'm saying poor people are terrible people. Because like I know somebody was like, no, they're great people. I know a lot of great, you know, poor people. And it's like, well, I'm not saying that they're not great people. You know, like I'm not like sitting here like saying like these are awful people. You should crucify them. They deserve to be poor. Blah blah blah. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they're a little upset with others who might be a little more fortunate. Which I mean, it's understandable. I'd be upset. Freaking them next door, they got a dang brick mailbox, and I'm really peed off about that because everybody else had freaking crappy mailboxes, right? And I was like, well, I'm not going to be one of those, right? I'm going to get me a nice mailbox. So I put in a nice mailbox. And then the ones next door, they upgrade their mailbox to be all nice and brick. And I'm like, oh, I see how it is. And then the other ones got like nice mailboxes. I'm like, God dang it. So I'm a little salty about that. I'm not saying nobody else is salty. And I want everybody to be clear that salty isn't calling you a terrible person or anything. It's fine to be salty.
It also doesn't make you poor.
No, salty does not make you poor. Oh, maybe it does. I don't know. Maybe I'll be poor tomorrow for being salty about mailboxes.
You built yourself up and then you put yourself back down.
Well, actually, that's fine though. I'm just saying. Like this isn't like a bad statement. I'm not going like attacking anybody specific. At least I don't think so. I thought it was kind of funny. All right, guys. I guess we'll go and include it. Hey, guys, leave a comment down below. Let me know, who do you think is worse, the salty poor people or the entitled rich people? Or you can just call me an asshole for thinking that poor people are salty.
Oh, jeez.
It's gonna be a fun one to have post out there.
All right, thank you for enjoying the podcast, because I know you did. Now go ahead and go to www.brothersbylawproductions.com. That's our fancy, cool website. In that website, you can find links to our merchandise. Currently is Amazon. You can find links to our latest YouTube videos. I try to keep that updated with new videos. And we have all the places you can find the podcast, as well as all our social media links. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, all that good stuff. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to all of those.
And if you want to help us out, we have a Patreon as well, a $5 tier, which includes a Discord, a video, and a personal email, and a shout out on our episodes. A $10 tier, which includes all that, plus a t-shirt. And if you are feeling extra frisky with your money, you can give us a $20, and you'll get a plaque signed by us, as well as access to our Discord, a video, and an email with a shout out.
Go ahead, check us out. Thank you for watching.